A new report suggests more than half of the country's teachers believe arming themselves would make students less safe. That's according to a survey from the Rand Corporation. It also found that 1 in 5 teachers say they would be interested in carrying a gun to school, while 20% believe teacher carrying programs would make schools safer. 26% did not feel it would make a difference in terms of safety. To further discuss the issue, we're joined by Detroit School Board member Sherry Gay-Dagnogo tonight over Zoom, as well as defense attorney Terry Johnson, who is here in studio. Thank you both so much for being here tonight. Terry, let's start with you. You've heard the stats, you've heard the reports. Do you agree that students should feel and teachers should feel that students are less safe if there's guns in the school?
Well, I mean, you have resource officers who have guns in the school. If something happens, who are you going to call? You're going to call the police, and what do they bring? They bring guns into the school. This is just another tool that students, or I should say, this is just another tool that school districts have in order to help protect the students. In situations like this, you got to remember every second counts, and the quickest way to stop someone with a gun is when someone else who is armed stops that person. So I think that if someone wants to carry a firearm, who is a teacher, they should have that opportunity to do so. I'm not saying every teacher should. I'm not saying it should be mandatory. I think if a teacher who has been trained, they should have that opportunity to do so.
Let's bring in Sherry over Zoom. Sherry, you heard the stats. You heard what Terry just said there. What are your thoughts as you hear these numbers?
Well, I think Terry, first of all, is misinformed and just looking for any opportunity for anybody to tote a gun around. I think it's ludicrous to think that a teacher who has licensure to educate children is the equivalent of a law enforcement officer. To do such is to diminish the role that our police officers, our sheriffs, and all of our law enforcement agencies provide in our community. So no, we don't want to have teachers carrying guns in the classroom. When you think about the time when an incident like this occurs, how much time does a teacher have? If you have 35 students in a classroom, let's just say you have a smaller classroom with 25, your first responsibility is not to find the shooter or someone who is bringing about the danger in the school. Your first responsibility is to make sure that your students are safe, that they are able to take cover, not become a vigilante out here and put everybody's life in harm. So absolutely not. Law enforcement agencies across the country are opposed to this. I'm opposed to this. And think about it. The cost of insurance in our schools, what would that cost in order for our teachers to be carrying guns and now policing the classrooms instead of teaching our children?
She took that so far off course. I'm glad you're at Mackinac because, again, up there, I guess that's the topic of just how to take something and spin it, even though someone said something, did not say what they said. Let me just be honest with you. Number one, Sherry wants everything one way. She wants to please the police unions. No one is saying a teacher should go through the hallways and look for shooters. What a teacher should do, and she's right, let's protect that classroom first. How do you protect that classroom? Everybody take cover. Someone comes in, I am going to stop them. That's what should happen. She talks about the cost of insurance. Sherry, what's the cost of a life worth? How many kids have to die in a school? What is that worth? They don't want to talk about that. What we need, I'm not asking a teacher to stand in and be a police officer. What I'm asking them to do is just be there for protection. They always say the #1 job is to protect their students. Then if someone wants to protect their students, they should be allowed to protect them.
As we talk about school safety, can I make a suggestion here? When we go to the airport, there is TSA. We go through screenings. We go through metal detectors.
Correct.
Why not just have metal detectors when you walk into school and have security there at the entry point, and we're done with all of this?
I agree with that, and I take Detroit Public Schools. Detroit Public Schools does not have those shootings inside the building. Why? Because of exactly what you said, hardening that entryway in. A lot of your suburban schools don't follow that model because they think it has a bad look. I am 100% behind what you just said.
Sherry, let me get your thoughts there. I mean, we talk about giving teachers guns, and there's proposals. In Oxford, they have talked about the idea of having guns in the school and safes and everything else. What about just having security at every school in the country as you walk in, just like TSA? And then does that solve the issue, or at least can try to solve the issue?
So I have to say this. I haven't looked at all of the questions that were a part of this poll. What this poll, as many polls have done, may propose a question, and when you are questioning and surveying people who already are deeply emotional about all the issues that we've seen with respect to gun violence and mass shootings at schools, and so certainly they are compelled to say they want to see a solution. Many of them may have said, yes, we want to carry a gun, but in all actuality, if they were presented the opportunity to, many of them would really push back on that, because the responsibility that comes along with carrying a gun in the classroom in many instances is going to fall on that teacher.
But why put it up? My thing is,
training? So yes, I say we would need to have security systems in place similar to what we have at DPS, but I think technology has gone a bit farther. When you're walking through certain parts of the McNamara terminal, there are areas in which it can scan you without having those gawky looking security entrances that look like you're going into a prison. So I think we can advance with technology and with time and make sure that our schools are safe. They don't look like prisons or jails or police stations, but our children are safe. But let me just say one more thing. While serving in the legislature, I had a bill that was seeking to gather the information for all schools. DPS has our own police force. All school districts don't have their own police force. And unfortunately, in Michigan, every school does not have a school resource officer. So we're doing a huge disservice by not making sure that every school has that. And we have a registry of which school districts have one. So that's something that we
in your rural
invest
districts,
our money for safety.
In your rural districts that are so far away from a police station, from a sheriff's department, it could take 10 to 15 minutes to get there.
I don't think teachers should have guns in the classroom. I'm sorry. I just don't.
But that should be a teacher's choice, because here's the thing.
It sounds preposterous.
You're an excellent anchor. You do a great job.
I beg to differ.
But my point in saying that is, who am I to tell you how to anchor? And who are teachers, who are the people who are telling teachers they shouldn't carry? That should come down to that individual teacher, and if they are responsible enough to do it.
Well, let me say this, though.
Terry, that dog won't hunt.
But let me hold on, Sherry.
Take every gun away. That's what Sherry wants.
Sherry, let me combat this here, though.
Everyone.
Law enforcement, police officers are trained on how to shoot. So now you're going to have teachers going through target practice?
No. You ever heard of this thing called a concealed pistol license? Guess what? Everyone who has a concealed pistol license has to go to the range. What's the difference?
That's not enough time. That's not enough time to allow a teacher in the classroom with a gun or a weapon.
But again, it's never, they can be there for a year. It wouldn't be enough time for Sherry. What is enough time, Sherry?
I disagree.
What's enough time? What, a month? 6 months? A year? What's enough time?
We're not going to solve that question.
Another one she won't answer.
I would venture to say no time, because
the
responsibility of a teacher is to do no harm and to make sure that they're educating their children, not policing our schools. Let's let the law enforcement agencies and all of those
and how's that working?
Provide safety.
And how's that working?
Do their job and let teachers do their jobs.
How's that working? With all the mass shootings, how is that working? Why don't we think outside of the box, Sherry?
No, that's not correct, Terry.
Because what we're doing isn't working.
Law enforcement agencies and experts disagree with this idea.
Of course they do, because what they're doing isn't working.
No, that's not fair.
It is fair, Sherry.
No, it is not fair. It's disingenuous to suggest they're not doing their job.
I didn't say they're not doing their job. I said what they're doing isn't working.
Yes, you did. You said, how's that working?
It's not
working. You're going back
working.
and forth on your argument, and that's not correct.
It's not working, Sherry.
But let's get down to the problem. The problem is we have not properly staffed security in our schools. So let's invest where we need to invest and allow teachers to keep teaching, counselors to keep counseling, and law enforcement and police officers to provide safety.
Why is it when it
That's the
comes to
responsibility.
guns, Sherry, you and the rest of the Democrats always say, we don't want to take guns away, but every solution you have is to keep it out of the hands of responsible citizens?
But how does this
Answer
turn
that one,
into
could
a
you?
conversation about children in school?
Oh, let's go back to the kids. I carry a gun to protect my family and my kids. Is that bad? And by the way, I can outshoot most police officers. Trust me.
Okay, but that's you and your family. I don't have any problem with you as a licensed gun owner to protect you and your family.
So
But your
teachers
family,
don't treat kids as their own? Don't you guys say that all the time?
Terry, I don't think you have 35 children.
So
No,
Terry,
I don't.
Terry,
I don't.
Terry, let me
But
jump in here.
teachers do.
Let me jump in here, guys. Terry, so your solution would be to giving teachers, if you ran a school district, you would have teachers carrying.
If the teacher wants to carry to help protect.
Well, hold on. If we have to have security, and it's either a yes or a no, we have to have security in every classroom. Would you, if we were running a school district, have every teacher carrying a gun?
And I can only say it this way. If the teacher believes they can handle the situation and they've been trained, yes. I never, ever, contrary to what Sherry says, I never, ever want to force anyone to carry a firearm. It should be a choice.
Well, special thanks to Terry Johnson and Sherry Gay-Dagnogo. Obviously, a very passionate discussion as we talk about keeping our children safe in schools. We appreciate your time, Sherry, and thank you so much,
Thank
Terry,
you.
for joining us tonight.